Hey y'all! Sorry about the southern accent. Just got back from visiting family in the Carolinas. Tonight we're going to begin Module 1 and Lesson 1. And as you know, I said that we may be skipping some of the lessons because they're incorporated into other lessons. So you may notice that we'll go Lesson 1, Lesson 3, maybe we'll skip over different lessons. Okay, so tonight we're going to start with Lesson 1, which has a little bit of review. So we'll have a brief discussion and then we'll do a quick example, and then I'll have you complete a piece of this on your own for homework. So we have the sequence a sub 0, and you'll remember this from Algebra 1, a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, and on and on. And that can be generated by evaluating a particular polynomial at values of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4x. And those numbers found by evaluating a sub 1 minus a sub 0, and then a sub 2 minus a sub 1. So basically the term minus its previous. So we had a sub 1 minus the previous term, a sub 2 minus the previous term, and that will form a new sequence. And we'll call that new sequence the first differences of the polynomial. And then the differences between successive terms of the first differences are called the second differences, and so on. And based on those patterns, we can help to recognize certain types of functions. And then eventually we'll talk about this in class a little bit. This is really the beginnings of understanding some calculus. So in this, in Algebra 1, you spent a lot of time with linear and exponential functions. In this course, and especially in this module, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about polynomial functions. Specifically in this unit, or excuse me, this lesson, we're going to talk about second degree polynomial functions. And of course, second degree polynomial functions, we're talking about quadratic. So that's hopefully a familiar vocab word. And sorry about my writing, getting used to using the pen. So we do have our quadratic, and then of course third degree terms we would call a cubic, and hopefully these are familiar words and terms. Okay, cubic just means third degree. Alright, so let's take a look at an example, and the reason that we're going to just start in with an example right away is because I'd like you to see what's happening and then hopefully be able to sort of generalize or come up with an idea of what you think is a general pattern to identify different types of polynomial functions. Okay, so we're going to first find the first differences, then after we find those first differences, we'll find the second differences of those first differences. So each column that we're looking at in our table helps us to generate the next column. Okay, and so in order to find the first difference, we're going to take this term here and we're going to subtract that. So what we have is a plus b plus c minus c. Okay, so that's again a plus b plus c minus c, which means that our first difference between these two would just be a plus b. And then, of course, if we look at the next two and compare those, so 2 compared to 1, we find the difference between these two to be 4a plus 2b plus c minus a. So essentially you have 4a minus a, which gives us 3a. And then you have your 2b minus b, which gives you positive or plus b. And then you have c minus c, which of course is 0. So we don't need to include that. Okay, and then we go to the next ones. And we have 9a minus 4a, which gives us a 5a. And then we have a 3b minus 2b, which gives us just a plus 1b. and then of course c minus c, which is equal to 0. Okay, and we'll do one more. So again, we're going to do the fourth one minus the third one. So we have 16 minus 9, and 16 minus 9 of course is 7, and that's 7a. And then we have 4b minus 3b, which is 1b, and then of course c minus c, which we end up with plus 0. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and do that last. I'll ask you to go ahead and pause the video and do that last one. Okay, now that you've started the video again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to find the second differences. So we're going to look at these two here. We're going to compare those two. And so we have 3a plus b minus a plus b. And we're really subtracting that entire quantity, right? So we have in our first review section. So we have 3a minus a, which gives us 2a. And then you have b minus b, and of course b minus b would just be 0. Okay. And then next we'll do the next two. So we have 3a plus b and 5a plus b. We're going to take 5a plus b minus the entire quantity, 3a plus b. So 5a minus 3a gives us a 2a. And then we have b minus b, which gives us 0. Okay, and then the last one here, we have 7a plus b minus the entire quantity 5a plus b. So 7a minus 5a is 2a, and b minus b, of course, is 0. Okay, so we have our 2a. All right, I'll ask you to pause the video for just a moment and go ahead and finish that last one using the answer that you found right here for that last space with 5 and 4 subtracted. Okay, and then now we'll go ahead and find the third differences. So again, we're going to find the third differences from the previous one. So we have our 2a minus 2a. So we're going to use both of these two, right? Okay, so we have 2a and 2a. So 2a minus 2a, of course, is 0. And then you have your 2a and 2a. So again, you're subtracting and we get 0. Okay, and then you can go ahead and find the last one given the information that you found for each of these last spaces in our first difference column and our second difference column. Okay, once you've completed that, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and, in preparation for class tomorrow, to jot down anything that you notice in this table. Okay, so everyone can do something that they notice or wonder based on the completion of that table. And then please be prepared to share your observations in class. So we'll try to generate a pretty big list, or at least as big as we can from this information, of the things that we notice or what we might wonder. Okay, so I'd like you to have at least 2 things you notice and at least 1 thing that you wonder for tomorrow's class. See you then. Thanks so much.